So I have been teaching like very small limited sessions over the last 2 weeks at my house. I've got some mats that I brought to my house that I'm throwing down in my backyard, 3 or 4 guys that I've been teaching private lessons to that I've been working with for a long time. And what I found is there was a certain sense of returning to what I feel like jiu-jitsu really is about. So like I think that we live in a world right now where we're experiencing a massive growth in the explosion of jiu-jitsu. I call it the modern jiu-jitsu renaissance. It's been amazing over the last 3 years with competition jiu-jitsu, gyms exploding, these mega gyms where guys are so uber focused on building their gyms up and the business aspects of it. And I feel like I don't think it's completely 100%, but I feel like maybe we might have lost a little bit of reality of what we all do this for the first place, is the beauty and the power of what jiu-jitsu really means. And when I taught a few of these small little lessons in my backyard with 4 dudes on mats thrown down underneath an oak tree, like I really felt like I was returning to what I know jiu-jitsu really is about. What do you think about things like that? What do you think about the current place that jiu-jitsu is in, dealing with all these enormous competition, competitor egos, and people trying to work on building their industries up?
Very well put, Kevin. I have never seen it that way, but I completely see what you're saying, and I agree. That's no one who does jiu-jitsu started doing jiu-jitsu because they dreamed of having a gym with 1,000 students. No one who starts training jiu-jitsu start training jiu-jitsu because they dreamed of being a champion and popular on the internet or this or that. I think everyone who starts for the right reasons, right? I think it might be originally self-defense or fitness, but I think that the first thing that you really fall in love with is the camaraderie on the mats, right? It's the fist bump and the hug and seeing your brothers and sisters and the rolling, man, like the endorphins you get from the rolling. Where do you replace that? Where do you find that? You don't get that anywhere else, And I think that the community aspect of it, right? That brotherhood you're describing of rolling around under an oak tree with a bunch of buddies and just removing the business side of it is a very, very beautiful place. I've been there. That has been the vast majority of my jiu-jitsu experience. Once you become a business owner, things change because now you're signing contracts. Now you're signing, and it's the nature of the game. Like I've thought so much about this, Kevin, where I go, is there a way where I can remain 100% true to my passion and still make money? And I can't find a way because the second you start signing contracts and you got bills to pay, and it's a competitive world out there, so you have to learn SEO. You think I like learning about SEO? You think I like Facebook campaigns? You think that's what I signed up for when I started training jiu-jitsu? I just wanted to be the baddest guy on the mats. I just wanted to choke people out and have them like, "Come on, you want to choke me out? I'm going to choke you out," And that right there, man, I loved it. I love it still. That's what got me high, And they were my brothers. It was never personal. Like afterwards, boom, I got you. I got your acai, man. You get me next time. We're it's become overly business oriented in some ways, and I feel like in some ways we were only becoming some of the traditional martial arts that we used to criticize 20 years ago. In some ways, BJJ was becoming that, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can fight like 12-year-olds getting promoted to black belt, and you can fight blue belts online. I think we won those 2 battles. But the community is still going to watch, BJJ become an ever more business-oriented art. And the coronavirus, in some ways, it had some positive effects. And I think it was a reawakening of that. I think you're absolutely correct. Because I do the same. I have a small group that I do privates with here and there. And it's a very different feel. It's a different kind of energy. In a perfect world, man, I would much rather that. But in that world, I don't get paid. I can't pay my mortgage.
Right.
I can't. I'm gonna have to. I'll be riding a bicycle for the rest of my life, and I think that's noble. I know people who chose that route. They have 15 students, maybe 20. They ride a bike and they live with their parents. And they're 40 years old. I know those people. I know those people in Brazil, and I admire them. Like, oh, you're lazy. No, I admire them because they stayed true to the art. Like they never wanted. It was all about the art. Maybe a little lack of work ethic too. I think there's a little bit of that too in those cases. But there was something very pure about it. They never wanted to become marketing experts, and I can't be that guy because I got bills to pay, man. I got to pay child support. I got mortgage. I got rent. I can't, but I like that. I think that is, it's a beautiful side of jiu-jitsu, and it still exists in big business. But like once you put money in there, it does take a little bit of the shine of the beauty of the art in and of itself as a means, as an end in itself, not a means to an end.
Yeah, I agree with you that it doesn't have to be separate, and I'll tell you why. And I think because when I think about jiu-jitsu and what I think is the beautiful part of jiu-jitsu that separates it from every other aspect, every other martial art out there, is the fact that we compete at a high level. We roll every day at levels that simulate what real life fighting is going to be like. And you just can't do that in other situations. You can't do that in other martial arts. And through that, those bonds that you spoke of develop. The idea of growth develops. The idea of watching someone's, I always say this, that jiu-jitsu is one of the few things in the world that will make the strong meek and the meek strong. And there's the beauty in that. And I watch it continually over and over and over again. And guys like yourself, because I've been to your gym, I know you grow a big gym, and I know you got to market. I know you got to do all the things. And when the world of jiu-jitsu has changed, we're not dealing with the 90s where you just threw everybody in a room. The strong survive, and if you're weak, you get your ass kicked and you left. You know, we have things in place to maintain membership. So guys that come in, the weaker guys, they end up staying because we don't just throw them to the wolves.
They're the best members.
Yeah, you're the best members. Exactly. I will never, even at major schools like yourself, as long as they're still live rolling, you're never getting away from what makes jiu-jitsu so great.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, because it is what makes it real. I always joke around, the coronavirus introduced us to the two things we hate the most in jiu-jitsu. Or not introduced, but forced us to do, like the warm-ups and the technique. Those are the two things
I fucking hate it.
Oh, I would add a third one. And that's taking time off for injury.